So it's just the two of us tonight, me and the Pooh Bear. The other guys, they get a lot more PTO than you and me, Pooh Bear.
Oh, I'm telling you. Especially that one guy.
Especially that one guy. So the Bucs win 3 straight and take a commanding lead in their division. Our thoughts on Antonio Bryant's suspension, the college football playoff, and more. It's go time, and you better saddle up. Dude, we're no goat head, no chief riding your back.
Well, I mean, I'm not up for the pranks, I guess. That's just Chief's job.
Hey, so we come back from going to Atlanta yesterday to watch the hometown Tampa Bay Buccaneers take on the Atlanta Falcons in the Mercedes-Benz Dome. Dude, what did you think about that stadium?
I thought it was a very nice stadium. I like the aesthetics of it. I like the way it looked. I was a little woozy. I mean, of course, we were sitting way up there, 300 and something section.
We were only about 15 rows from the top of that joint.
Yeah, I wasn't far from touching the drain line or something. But yeah, the sight line was a little bit I don't know what the word, but it made me feel a little icky for a little bit.
Yeah.
Until I got adjusted to, because you can see out, you can see downtown, and just there's an expanse there between the dome itself, seeing the huge buildings outside, the huge video screens, and then you look down, there's teeny tiny Tom Brady. It tricks your brain. It makes you feel a little icky. So once I got used to that, then it seemed to be a little better.
Yeah, I definitely felt like the equilibrium was off for a little bit.
Yeah.
So my 2 takeaways from that stadium: one, the concessions, surprisingly affordable.
Yes.
So the hot dogs were $1.50 a hot dog.
Yes.
And soda was all you could drink for $2.
Yep.
They had those machines everywhere. You could just, fill up your soda. That is crazy affordable.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I appreciate the fact that they have identified certain items. I think the pretzels, the popcorn, hot dogs, and then soda was relatively inexpensive. Now, other things were priced appropriately or priced the same way most places are. But I thought that was, because that's the stuff that kids are going to eat. So if you're trying to, entice your kids to go to a game or trying to be able to afford to go to a game, that's exactly where you're going to be spending your money. And I think that's a valiant effort on the part of Arthur Blank and the Falcons. And we did vlog a little bit this weekend, and I gave credit to them for that as well. So good on you, Falcons, for doing that.
So what somebody has logged in to our account on YouTube.
That is.
I'm gonna listen. I will say we did buy 10 hot dogs to split amongst 10 hot dogs and 2 nachos to split amongst 5 grown men, and some of us ate more hot dogs than the others.
But that was with, I think TSG went and got some pizza at that time.
TSG had gone and got some pizza and come back, and when he came back, we had hot dogs, and he ate a hot dog.
Yep. And then I think Jack was eating some chicken wings or chicken tenders or something.
Yeah, and some French fries. The funny thing is, I don't think we got any video of our smorgasbord of food. No,
not at the stadium. At breakfast, we did. So if you didn't know what we're talking about, we did travel to Atlanta this weekend. We did a road vlog. So we all kind of took separate flights and separate paths to our destinations. Shout out to Tony and Eileen, Chief's brother-in-law and sister-in-law. They put us up for the night and fed us very well on Saturday night and went to the game with us. So awesome weekend with Tony and Eileen and Jack and Parker and Kelsey. So thank you very much. I can't forget Dash and Dakota, the dogs. I never got the cats in. The cats scare me in the middle of the night. So I'm coming down after showering and brushing my teeth and stuff first thing Sunday morning Never saw a cat in this house at all. But as I'm coming down the stairs at 7 a.m., the cat jumps on me from out of nowhere. I almost fall down the stairs and hurt myself. And at no point did they ever introduce the cat on all day Saturday. Just the dogs. I never saw the cat.
The cat got you. So the other thing, my other thing about the stadium, was like they had this big LED TV thing that was like a big circle, right? And so that was kind of nice, but like there was never like I like going to a stadium and be able to see the stats of the game. There was only one place from where we were sitting we could see what down and distance it was,
right?
And what the clock was.
Well, it was on the bottom of, so it was very similar to watching it on Fox or something. It was on the bottom of that screen.
Dude, from that high up, I can't see that far.
No, it was huge. I saw it.
I need the big numbers.
I saw it. I was going to pull my phone, I guess, to show a video. No, I saw it. And then on the above the first level, so the 100 level, right above that and below the 200, where you would have like a Ring of Honor or something, that had the score and then the time left in the game.
That's where that was the only place I could find it was there. Yeah.
No, it was on. It was just now when there was no game on, they were showing commercial type B-roll, Falcon hype stuff. They had Chris Tucker on, they had Sam Jackson on, that kind of stuff. Now it wasn't showing then, but when the game was going on, it would show you those things.
Okay. I guess my eyes deceive me. So the Bucs win their third straight game.
Sweep the Falcons.
Right? They sweep the Falcons. That was
for the season. Yeah.
No, I thought we played them again in a couple of weeks.
No, we play the Panthers twice coming up.
Oh, we still got to play the Panthers twice. That's crazy.
Yep.
That could sneak up on you, by the way. Listen, by the way, and the Tampa Bay fans traveled really well. There was a lot of Tampa fans there.
A lot of us. So plenty of footage that we ended up at a Bucs tailgate trying to get them to play the "We Got the Goat" song.
Yeah. Well, maybe they might have played it after we left, but it started to rain, so we bolted.
Yeah, they had a DJ.
So, what were your thoughts on the game yesterday, Pooh Bear, on the Bucs' performance?
I mean, keep feeding playoff Lenny. This guy is getting into shape. He does not look to be slowed by any, season lag. He is definitely getting it done out of the backfield, catching, running the ball.
He even lined up at wide receiver twice in that game.
Yeah, I mean, just getting it done. That's very utilitarian of him.
Yeah.
So I like to see that.
The interesting thing about that is I would have to guess, and our stat guy isn't here tonight, but I would have to guess that he is the leader in all-purpose yards for this team, because not only does he get the majority of the carries, he gets a lot of looks at running back.
Yes.
He gets a lot of looks catching the ball out of the backfield.
Yes.
Going into the season, we thought that running back role was going to be very well defined, in that playoff Lenny would get the majority of the first and second down snaps, that the Bernard guy would get most of the third down looks because he was a better blocking back and had better hands.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would split in Rojo to give, Lenny some rest or whatever. I think Rojo got maybe 2 carries yesterday, and Bernard has been used hardly none.
Yeah, well, he was injured. He was injured over the past 2 months. He's been fighting some injuries. So you're right, though. They did start off the season using him exclusively in third down situations, but he's kind of tailed off. Even when he is healthy, he hasn't been in there. You haven't had to put him in there. I mean, Fournette's been doing such a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Don't fix what isn't broken.
And it's crazy to think that first offensive series for the Bucs, not a single run play.
No, I don't think they ran a run play until like the third series.
It was the second series. They ran two running plays in the second series. So in their first 2 series, only 2 running plays. By the way, both of those resulted in touchdowns.
Yep.
And then things slowed down for us a little bit. But it's crazy because I think Chief was pointing out while we were driving to the airport that we averaged, or not we, but Leonard Fournette averaged 3.5 yards a carry in that game. Math tells you give him the ball twice on first and second down and you're 3rd and 3. right? It's just odd that you don't continue when you're having that kind of success. You don't continue to do that. But I mean, shoot, Brady threw the ball over 50 times yesterday.
Right. I'm not sure how his shoulder is, hadn't been iced up and wrapped up and rubbed down today because he threw the ball a lot.
Yeah.
So, but it was good. I mean, short of the running game, I think Brady was still a little bit inaccurate, especially early in the game. He's got that late start, doesn't want to get going right off the bus just yet. Had a few missed passes, but and Gronk too. Gronk had been targeted a few times. Either Brady overthrew him,
touchdown.
Right? Well, either Brady
touchdown.
Yeah, Brady either overthrew him or he dropped. I think he dropped one or two. But then, yes, he caught the touchdown from Brady. That was an amazing catch. I mean, actually, Fournette had one as well, just out here.
The one-handed grab.
I mean, just amazing what these guys are being able to do right now. It's good stuff.
Do you want to address this question?
Yeah, we can talk about that. So the main event says, does Rojo have a future? With the Buccaneers is what I'm assuming the question is. And I mean, it's tough to say because we don't know the future of Fournette, right? So there's another comment. If Fournette sticks around after, because I believe he's a free agent at the end of the season, if he is to stay, then Rojo probably does not have a future with the Buccaneers. If he leaves, then there's the potential. So that's a hard one to say. I would say no. I'm off the Rojo bandwagon. If he needs to go somewhere, then I'm not going to be sad.
Yeah. So here's my thing. Listen, obviously we know there were rumors that the Bucs were shopping Rojo at the trade deadline.
Okay.
So clearly they felt like he was expendable, and of course, remember at the trade deadline we're looking for defensive back or corner help.
Yes.
So you're willing to give up for a need like that, you're willing to give up one of your better players. I just think today's NFL is different. You don't have a featured back.
No.
As much as you used to 10 years ago, or maybe even 5 years ago. Like the days of guys getting the majority of the carries like Adrian Peterson, Marshawn Lynch, etc. I just don't think teams do that anymore. And so you got to have two quality backs.
Yeah, there's very few teams in the league that do that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's hard to say. And plus, I mean, didn't we draft a running back in one of the later rounds that we really haven't seen play at all? So
Keyshawn Vaughn.
Yeah. So you don't know what the development that he's going to have. I think there's a lot we don't know yet in terms of does Rojo have a future?
Nope. I agree.
Yeah. We were talking about, Brady coming out a little flat. I felt like the defense came out flat again. They did give up points on the first two drives. Outside of Brady's pick six at the end of the first half, those are the only points that the defense gave up in the game. But they did have some bend but don't break moments. But again, I just feel like for whatever reason, this team comes out a lot of games like they're not prepared. And they have to make a lot of adjustments, which it's good that they can, but they're having to make a lot of adjustments to stay in the game or win games over the long run.
Well, it's hard to come out. I mean, as good as the Bucs are, it's still very difficult to come out, give up the lead, and then try to play from behind. So if they could secure the lead, do some ball control. I thought the ball control in the first drive was excellent. They did have to go for it on fourth down to maintain that possession. But that was incredibly helpful for the defense. And they were also running the 2-minute drill a lot. They were running really fast, hurry up offense.
They were running for that fourth down play. That fourth down play on that first drive, they were in no man's land. You punt, you punt, and it might be a 15-yard punt net, or you go for it on 4th and 3 and see what you can get.
Yeah. No, it's it wasn't a very tough decision to go for it on 4th and 4 on that.
No, they didn't even hesitate. In fact, when you looked at the play that they ran on the third down play, it was almost as if they went into it going, this is 4 down territory.
Right. Yeah, we're going. Yes, exactly. We're going to go.
Because there was no hesitation on the 4th down. They lined right up.
Right. No, agreed.
Yeah.
So other than that, the ball control, keeping the defense off the field, or the Bucs defense off the field is helpful. And then the Bucs defense needs to get off the field on third downs, right? They gave up a bunch of third down plays, conversions yesterday.
How about they gave up 3rd and longs, not 3rd and 3, 3rd and 15, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10.
That's just not great. I mean, that is tough to do and to maintain your stamina playing on the defense. I mean, you're going to get tired out if you're running up and down the field like that. So that's what is aggravating to a fan that, we're seeing. It seems like they're not prepared for that. That first drive, the defense was in against the Falcons. Matt Ryan had his way a lot of times. Cordarrelle Patterson was running like crazy. I think he had a huge 25 or 30-yard run. Some poor tackling by Antoine Winfield and a few other guys. So just some little things that you're like, you shake your head at. Nobody's perfect, but it's like, man, that's a little thing that should get corrected. And, why aren't you prepared? Why does it seem like you're not ready to play sometimes?
Yeah. So, did you notice Chris Godwin had a record day? I saw somewhere today, I didn't realize this. His 15 receptions were a record for catches by a Buccaneer in a single game.
Did not know that. I saw the numbers. I saw that he had an amazing day. I did not know it was a record for Bucs.
That's pretty great. And Mike Evans back. I mean, Mike Evans has 99 yards. Had 6 or 7 catches for 90. So they had
very quietly.
2 receivers. Yeah, very quietly. They had 2 receivers almost over 100 yards. And Gronk and Lenny Fournette were factors in the passing game as well. Going back to the defense, though, we get to Matt Ryan 5 times. That last sack by Vita Vea.
That was amazing. That was the one where he came right in the middle.
He just came right up the middle, blows the dude over, sacks Matt Ryan, and then does the swim.
Yeah, shoves the guard out of the way. I mean, that's just strength and power, right? And explosiveness, because he's a big man. He's a little squatty body, but he's a wide body, and he's a large man. It reminds me a lot of like Warren Sapp as far as body build, but he's fast, man. He just shoves that guard aside, goes right after Ryan. Nothing Ryan can do. He's like, I can eat this ball or just get man.
And Sue got in there twice too. We were talking yesterday in our minivan, headed to the airport. Our minivan with the number 12 on the side, with our racing stripes, right? And we're in our minivan. We're cruising through Atlanta, and we're having some conversations about great Buccaneers defense. Because like when you look at this defense and you look at the names on it, Sue, Pierre-Paul, White, David, Vita Vea. I mean, you look at it and you're like, wow, this is like a really stacked defense. But they are nothing like that Buccaneers Super Bowl defense that was those guys could score in any game.
Right.
There was a chance that defense was going to put points on the board in any given game. And I think it was you started to break it down like, okay, well, how would you compare Sue to Warren Sapp? Sapp's the better player. How would you compare Booger McFarland to Vita Vea? In your opinion, Booger McFarland was better. And we kind of went through that a little bit.
I think it was Chief. I would say Vita is better than Booger, but
you would say Vita. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's blame the
Chief.
Good stuff on Chief. Yeah.
But you're right. The edge rushers, you've got JPP and Tryon Sharinka. There's nowhere near as good as Simeon Rice. I think Steve, I can't remember his name now. But the corners, you had Rondé, you had Brian Kelly, defensive
John
backs,
Lynch, Derek Brooks.
Yeah, your safeties were Lynch and Dwight Smith, I believe, was the safety. So if you went player by player, yeah, you probably see that. But it was just a scheme thing, man. Monty had that team designed to score, like you're saying. Derek Brooks was put into positions to be able to catch the ball and then
score. Yeah.
The defensive line was aware enough to be able to make those blocks so that he could, So, and we saw some of that last year. SMB, Sean Murphy Bunting got a couple of pick sixes. Winfield got into a couple of picks. The guys were making some turnovers when it counted late in the season. So, I mean, I'm not going to gloss over and say they're terrible, but you're right. It did seem like the legendary 0-2 defense was just that. It was just all over the field, scored at will almost sometimes.
Yeah, the straight up ballers. So we got a tough matchup this coming week. We got the Bills, and they're playing tonight.
Yes.
And against the
Patriots.
best team in the AFC. The best team in the AFC right now. Who saw that coming?
Not here. Not here. Mac Jones got it going. I did not. I mean, he hasn't done anything spectacular. He's done what he needs to do. But I did not have him coming out as one of the better quarterbacks in this class. I had Trey Lance as the best quarterback in this class, and Mac Jones was kind of the down towards the bottom. But I mean, that's why Brian or Bill Belichick gets all the love, man. He knows how to get these guys, and again, puts them into position to succeed. He's not going to make him make any throws he can't make.
Yeah, so interested to see this game tonight. I think it'll tell us a lot about Buffalo, but I think that's going to be a tough game for us.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what that's like. Let's talk about how do we do last week with picks.
Oh, let's take a look at those. If I remember right, I'm looking at the score. We don't have to go over these. We can just wait till next week. Don't worry about them.
Would you go over or something? Over?
No, I didn't go over. I got we picked 5 games. I got one right.
In 5 games, you got one right.
Right? How awful is that?
Did TSG get more than you?
So yes, he did. I feel terrible about that. So Chief was the big winner from last week. He selected 3 of the 5 games correctly. He got he called the Lions, man. The Lions.
He did call the
beat
Lions.
The Vikings last minute. We were watching that game pretty close.
Yes. In fairness, though, he didn't pick the Lions because he thought they would actually win. He picked against Zelensky.
Yes. He picked
so
against
I don't know
the
if that
Vikings.
one counts. I don't know if that one counts.
It counts because he got it, but he's not a believer in the Lions. Otherwise, if he is, I'll give it to him this week too. But then we also picked the the Dolphins and Giants game. We all 4 picked the Dolphins, which was the correct choice. So we got that one. Then the Chargers versus the Bengals. We all picked the Bengals, man. We're all Joe Burrow believers.
No, we were all over on that one.
No, Justin Herbert come out and proved them all wrong. So everybody's a big goose egg on that one. The Woofed took on the Raiders and beat them. TSG and you had the Raiders, or the Wolf, the Washington football team. And then our final game was the Niners in Seattle. Everyone took Niners except for Chief, who took Seattle. Maybe he had another roommate in Army who liked the Chiefs or liked the 49ers. But anyway, so he was the big winner, 3-2. And that puts him also in the season lead, man. He's at 25-18. Incredible. Me and you were tied at 23-20. And TSG and his love for the Jaguars is at 14-29.
All right. Well, so let's talk about this week's picks. How about you and I give ours, and then I believe we have a video.
We do not have a video. We don't
have a video.
I have a video. It's not available to watch on this.
Okay, but we do have Chiefs picks are official. They were in. They were in before the deadline.
Yes. TSG did not get his picks in before the deadline. He just LOL. Okay. He's like, I'll just take the Jags. I'm like, all right, I'll take the Jags in.
Okay, well, good thing for him. The Jags is one of the games. So let's start with the Saints versus the Jets. I actually think this is a tough game to pick, and for the reason that I want to pick the Saints, but they've got quarterback issues right now.
Yeah.
The guy playing quarterback got hurt. They put Taysom Hill in versus Dallas on Thursday night. He throws 4 picks, runs for over 100. Yeah, runs for over 100 yards. Who knows who's going to play quarterback in that game? I think for that reason, man, the Jets are not good either.
No, so that's what makes this a tough game to pick.
So,
do you need to know who the Chief took before you make your pick?
No, I don't. I don't want there to be anything about that.
Yep. Because he'll use it against you.
Oh my gosh, I feel like I should just flip a coin.
I'm going to take the Jets because it's at home. It's in New York. It may be cold this week. Ooh. There may be some snow. So I'm taking the Jets.
Is the running back Kamara, is he going to be back?
We don't know. He was in COVID protocol.
All right. I'm going to bank on the fact that he gets off the COVID list, and I'm going to go with the Saints.
Okay.
I think that's a hard game to pick.
I think TSG is going to join you too.
You think he's going to pick the Saints?
We gave him the Saints.
Oh, we just randomly pick stuff for TSG.
Well, I mean, he's not here. What do you want me to do? Just give him an offer? All right, I'll take it. Offer. Next one is the Falcons at the Panthers. All right, so that's a importantly divisional matchup for the Buccaneers. No Cam.
Listen,
no Christian McCaffrey. He's out for the year.
Then you got to pick the Falcons,
right?
You got to pick the Falcons. This is another game. Why are we picking games that are hard?
Listen, I'm not the one that chooses the games to pick.
All right, I'm going to go with the Falcons in this game.
I think you have to.
Listen, they showed some moments that they're a pretty decent team.
Yes.
Yesterday to me, and I think that it's going to be difficult for Carolina to win without Christian McCaffrey, and who knows who is playing quarterback.
Right. No, so just some points of emphasis for the Falcons to offer up. They run the ball extremely well with Cordell Patterson, and then they had Mike Davis. What I noticed was they use a fullback to block for Davis, something no other teams. Well, I'm not gonna say no other, but it's not commonly done in the NFL these days, and that is an important factor when you're trying to run the ball. Now, it does kind of show your hand and tell the defense, "Hey, I'm about to run," but it still is a very effective tool to use for running. So I'm also going to go with the Falcons because of that. I think they're going to be able to run the ball with those two players.
Okay, and then the last game that we have, God, these are all battles of the bad.
He calls it that in his video. He calls it the battles of the bad.
Okay, so this is the Jags versus the Titans.
Yep.
And I'm going to make my decision based on one thing. The Jags are in the state of Florida.
Yes.
They're a Florida team. So I'm going to go with the Jags. I believe, didn't the Titans get absolutely demolished yesterday by somebody?
Yes.
I feel like they did.
Yeah, without Derrick Henry, they're nothing. I will also take the Jags. I believe they can get it done. But just for the fans to know, the Chief went with the Jets, the Panthers, and the Jaguars as well.
I think he's going down next week.
He might. He's the lead dog right now, though, with the best record in picks. So maybe there's something to his method, whatever it is.
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, so we'll see how that plays out next week. This week we got reports that 3 players were suspended for I don't know, basically lying to the league about their vaccination status.
Right.
Among those players was known bad boy of the NFL and wide receiver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Antonio Brown. My first question, Pooh Bear, are you surprised of the shenanigans?
Not really. And I'll tell you this much right now. I don't think he's the only one. I mean, I know that
you just think he got caught.
Right. I know that Carlton, was it Carlton Davis?
Yeah.
No. The other defensive back.
It was an Evans something, Mike Evans or something like that.
No. Man, we look silly.
Well, I'm asking, are the 3 guys suspended? One of them was like a Mike Evans.
Yeah, yes.
Or a Mark Evans or something like that.
Yes. But it was also the other cornerback that we all know. I just can't remember his name right now. Anyway, so those are the ones who got caught up in this because of Antonio Brown's idiocy. What my point is, I think there's other teams other players on other teams that probably did the same thing. Matter of fact, there was a guy yesterday that got arrested for selling these fake COVID cards for $75 a piece. So if Antonio Brown could figure out how to get a hold of one, and
Pooh Bear, I feel like you and I can make these things in my office.
Oh, listen, when I was getting mine, the lady had a stack. She grabs the one off the stack and goes to write up mine and to get the actual dose. Well, the stack is still sitting there in front of me. I mean, obviously, I've got ethics and morals. I'm not going to take something that doesn't belong to me, but I could have if I didn't have ethics and morals.
That's the thing. It's like there's no. I think it's easy to fake these things, and there's probably a ton of them out there.
Yeah.
So my question is so I'm kind of hearing you say you're not really surprised,
right? And
that you think that there's probably a lot of other players out there.
Yep.
Listen, Antonio Brown has been in plenty of trouble in the NFL.
Yep.
And I feel that he came to Tampa there weren't a whole lot of teams that wanted him last year.
Mm-mm.
And Brady, as we know, lobbied for Antonio Bryant to come here. I would have to assume he came here on a short leash.
Well,
he's got a 3.
Bruce said it was a zero tolerance policy. Coach of the Buccaneers, Bruce Allen said, or Bruce Arians said, we are not going to tolerate any nonsense from this guy. Now, at the time, I think he was referring to legal trouble and, physical altercations off the field, I think is kind of what the discussion was about that at that time. So this clearly isn't a physical altercation or any sort of abuse of another person or, any I guess it's illegal.
It continues to show a lack of maturity on this guy's part.
Oh yeah, the character, absolutely. We're not gonna go hang out. He's not gonna watch my kids babysit or anything like that. No, that's not happening.
So, he gets a 3-game suspension. He served one of those games yesterday. Now, the reality is right now he's hurt. Now, that's what I was about to say. What I don't know is, the Buccaneers announced last week before the suspension that he was likely to miss at least 2 more games.
Right.
It makes me wonder if they knew the suspension was coming at the time that they put that news out. So is he hurt or not? We don't really know. But what we've been told is he was going to miss at least 2 more games. So technically, from a suspension standpoint, he'd only miss 1. Now, I've talked on the show over the last couple of weeks that I feel he's truly missed in the wide receiver core because you can cover Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. You can't cover all 3 of those guys.
Right.
And for whatever reason, Scotty Miller or Chris Johnson or whoever are not able to fill in that 3rd wide receiver spot like, Antonio Bryant has been doing. I feel selfishly, for the Bucs to have their best chance to win, we need him back. But I feel like he gets cut.
Yeah, in the season, you just don't re-sign him kind of thing. I think he's on a 1-year deal.
I don't think we see him again this season.
Potentially. How many games are left? We're at week 12, so six games left. Well, 5 games because they have a bye week.
5 games, and he's going to miss 2 of them, so that leaves 3 games plus the playoffs.
I mean, I don't know. I don't see any value in cutting him. I mean, what are you doing? You're just saying, oh yeah, he goofed up. Now apparently he's been vaccinated since then. Like has been vaccinated, has the proof of it. I don't know. I don't see any reason to cut him. I mean, it was a bonehead move.
That's like stealing somebody's car and then returning it after you get arrested.
No. You're not stealing a car. Car has value and it belongs to someone else. You lied.
So does your character.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I'm telling you, I'm agreeing with you. He has poor character, and I would not hire him. But if he's already here and he's helping your team, and his I'm not gonna say his only offense, but the current offense is that he tried to finagle his way away from COVID protocols 4 months ago. I mean, you're foolish if you didn't think he would try something like that.
In my opinion, he's this week's "You Can't Fix Stupid."
Oh yeah, hey, there you go. Boom, there it is. Yeah, and all this. Here's the bad part, right? So all of this comes out from a catered chef who he hired and refused to pay. So this guy comes into his home. I don't know how long his employment was. It sounds like it was kind of a contract thing, like he was just there to do a little bit of a job. Doesn't get paid. He's claiming that he asked Antonio Brown for his $10,000. Antonio's like, "Go pound sand. You're not getting it." And that's when this guy's like, "Well, better call Boykin. Call Morgan & Morgan, somebody." Well, he ends up calling a St. Pete Times Rick Stroud and says, "Hey, I got information on this guy. You want it?" Now, how he found out that he didn't have the appropriate card, that's a little odd to me. I mean, I don't go around hiring people and telling them my personal business. So, hey, come paint my house. And then, hey, by the way, I got a fake vaccination card if you didn't know.
Yeah. So listen, Chief is chiming in the chat.
Yeah.
And the question he's asking is, if AB takes the field, who loses playing time, and is it worth it?
Well, right now it would be Tyler Johnson or Scotty Miller. And then the question becomes, is he better than Tyler Johnson, and is he better than Scott Miller? And I think the answer is yes.
The answer is yes to both of those.
Yeah.
But before he got hurt, there were several games he was the leading receiver,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you're going to double team Mike.
Or
right?
play his way of the field.
By the way, Mike Evans is quietly going to have another 1,000-yard season, I think.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
somewhere around 760 yards right now. And we don't feel like he's been as big of a factor as he's been in the years past, but he does catch a lot of touchdown passes, you know. But you're going to double team Mike, and that leaves either Chris Godwin or AB open. And AB is really right now the only legitimate deep threat we have.
So Chief says that the answer to the question, is it worth it, is no. And I need him to explain that. I mean, what is the downside to letting him play?
It's my downside to letting him play has nothing to do with on the field performance.
Right. It's public perception is the only possible answer.
That, and it's what it says to all of those other guys in the locker room.
Well, I'd go to them then. I'd ask them. I'm like, hey, listen, this guy, we all know he's a scumbag. We all know he can't be trusted, but he can catch balls. You guys want to win ball games, or you want somebody trustworthy? I bet you what the answer is, because apparently the same question was asked before they signed him, and essentially to a man they said, "We like it, do it," and they've got a Super Bowl ring to prove it.
Listen, I love the fact that we have a Super Bowl ring to prove it. My challenge is that you are sacrificing the culture of an organization for a performer or for a producer.
And I can get behind that. I can get behind that, except for the fact that you've already allowed it to go along this long.
Okay.
Right? So I'm with you. Like, again, I've got that same kind of ethical character, moral character, where I want to make sure that my team is as above board as possible, but you've already allowed him on a ship, right? So let's use the Buccaneer analogy there, tie in. You've allowed him on board onto the crew. He's already proven himself not to be a great character person or anybody you would want to hang out with, but yet he gets the job done at work when it's time. So that's what I would say, because we had we had the same discussion before he was signed.
Well, we had this discussion before we signed him. You know, some of us were like, "Hey, let's sign him, let's sign him, let's sign him," and some of us were like, "No."
And my position was, no. I think you need to bring up Tyler Johnson. You need to groom him to being a number one receiver. You've drafted him for that purpose. He's going to take playing away from Tyler. He's going to take playing time away from Tyler Johnson, which he has done. We haven't seen the progression of Tyler Johnson that we probably should. So, but they didn't listen to me. They didn't come to ask Pooh Bear, hey, should we sign this guy? I said, no, it's not a good idea. They, the Buccaneers, chose differently. You made your bed, lie in it. Nobody's going to think ill of you. There are no fans jumping off the ship now saying, oh, they're going to keep AB. Well, I'm done. I'm never going to root for them again. That's not happening.
That's because we're greedy and we want another ring.
Exactly. That's my point.
If this guy was Merida, Mr. Irrelevant, he would get cut.
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
Okay, then why a double standard? You're
it's not double standard.
Sacrificing the culture of your organization because he's a producer.
For talent. Listen, if we wanted to go down the list of names that stormed the beach at Normandy, I promise you there were some guys in there that didn't have the best of character. But you know what? They still got the job done, and we're darn glad they did.
Wow. You took that a completely different
direction. It's the truth, man. We put people up on these pedestals and act like they're different than anybody else. He's no different than anyone else. He makes poor decisions, just like all of us do. His decisions seem to be poorer and more highlighted than others, and some of them are really, really poor. But that's the nature of humans. They're going to foul up. If you cut every player that fouled up on the Buccaneers.
So let me ask you this question a different way. Actually, the original way I answered it. Your opinion is that he'll stay.
Yes.
But what should happen?
In a perfect world, yeah, sure. You don't want anybody on your team that's going to tarnish the face of the organization.
All right.
But you've already done that. You already did that by signing him.
So you're saying that the Bucs keep him? He's on the roster.
You kind of have to, because now then you're saying, well, he shouldn't have been here in the first place. Well, now you're culpable for the first signing that you did. Then what happened in the second signing?
Yeah.
Right? You signed him twice, and you still, I mean, if you're going to say that we made a bad decision, I can get behind that. You change your mind, whatever, that works. But it doesn't seem like that's the way this organization's going.
They have a win now philosophy, mentality.
Yeah. And another point is just the fact that I promise you, if you went down the NFL rosters and started examining COVID cards, you're going to find some more players that did not provide authentic cards.
So you think he was just the first to get caught?
Yes.
Okay.
And it was all because of his chef. If there were other chefs out there, if there are other players screwing over chefs out there, they would get caught too.
Okay. So hey, last football story. I thought it was a point of interest because the four of us were watching this in the airport yesterday. But the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens, the Steelers come back. They take a lead over the Ravens. The Ravens have the ball back with just minutes to go. And they drive down and score a last-minute touchdown. I think there's literally 2 seconds, 4 seconds.
It was 12 seconds.
12 seconds left on the clock. And they're faced with the decision to kick the extra point, tie the game, and take this to overtime, or go for a 2-point conversion in an effort to win, which also means if they don't convert it, they lose. And Jim Harbaugh, I stood there in the airport and I told you guys this guy has huge huevos when they lined up to go for it on the 2-point conversion, and they did not convert.
Nope.
Did you see what his response was in the post-game press conference?
I didn't. What was it?
So, they asked him why he went for it, and of course, Bruce Arians would say, no risk it, no biscuit, right?
That was the shirt I was wearing.
But he says that they were out of corners because of injuries and that they had a higher probability of winning on that 2-point conversion play than they did to go to overtime and playing without defensive backs. Because apparently they didn't have any that were healthy enough to go. Or that would have, maybe they had some healthy enough to go, but they weren't very good. I don't know. But the idea was we'll worry about the defensive backs next week.
Yeah, we didn't see before any of that to know what had happened during the game. It was a low-scoring game at that point. I think it was 10-10 or something. Pretty much as soon as we got to the gate on the TVs, you could see where the Steelers had scored, and then the Ravens were going to respond with their final score there. So yeah, we didn't see who got hurt, who didn't, and what happened. I love the trying to win part of it, though. I think that's fantastic.
I get it.
Because it's a divisional rival. I think the Steelers beat them the first game already. Trying to get a win. Steelers have been playing well enough to be, I think they're in first place in that division. You've got Bengals breathing down their neck. Ravens trying to do something. They haven't been playing great as of late. So, yeah, I like going for the win. Sucks they didn't get it. It would have been nice to see it, but
yeah. I mean, it's pretty interesting to see him go for it there, but it was close. It was a close play.
Yeah.
Hey, so I want to recount, or actually I don't want to recount, but I want you and the Chief to give me back my money from the Kentucky Derby winnings that you guys got on Medina Spirit.
Did we win on that one?
I believe the Chief definitely took home a winner on Medina Spirit.
I think I won, but I don't think it was on that horse. I think it was on the second place, the place in the show. I don't think it was on the win.
So let me set this up. Rest in peace to Medina Spirit,
who
died today.
COVID?
After a training run, reportedly having a heart attack. This horse just won the Kentucky Derby not even a year ago, and is training under Bob Baffert in California, and goes down.
He got suspended for that, right?
He has a 2-year suspension at Churchill Downs.
Holy cow! For that race. So no, any race at Churchill Downs. No, but because of that race, this most
because
recent
of that race. So Derby. That race, Medina Spirit on their blood sample, his blood sample post race was he had an illegal substance, which apparently is a legal substance in horse racing, except not on race day.
Hmm.
So I don't know what, the life of this narcotic is in the horse's system, but apparently there's a way to tell like how recently it was. So
Hmm.
if you remember, the horse tested positive, and they waited for the second blood sample to come back, which came back inconclusive. So they kind of let it go. So my
Oh,
question is, like, is there foul play here with? I mean, like, what's going on?
interesting. Well, I mean, we all know that the Bafferts run horse racing, right? They're very similar to the Belichicks and the Robert Krafts of the football
Wow.
world with the Patriots. I mean, honestly, they are. When was the last time you saw him not involved in something? I mean, really, the only time the Patriots haven't been in the playoff race or inside the hunt for the Super Bowl was this past season when the first season without Tom Brady. For the past 20 years, they've been contenders. And I
Mhm.
think Baffert's the same way. He's always got a horse in contention for most of those big races.
So what I'm hearing you kind of allude to is that maybe they walk the line a little bit.
Oh, I'm sure they do. Well, just like you said with this doping agent that they were allowed to use any other day except for race day. By the way, I hate rules like that. Hockey's got one where you can curve your stick a certain way in the third period, but not in the first or second period, right? It
That's
gets
dumb.
tested, it gets tested for a certain bend. In baseball, you can use certain steroid type drugs, or not drugs, but supplements up until a certain limit. Like you can have, I don't know what the numbers are, like 1.8 parts per million in your body, but if you get to 1.9, you're
Yeah,
busted.
you can't. Yeah.
I don't like these rules where it's okay at one point and not the other. If it's
Well,
if
I
it's
don't like
okay
the
or it's
rule
not.
where it's okay for them to be on ADD medication if they have a doctor's prescription.
Right, Mike Trout.
I
So
mean, like, listen, any doctor is going to write that prescription if you ask them to.
right, if you slide enough money, right? But anyway, so to the point of the Bafferts and the horse racing, I don't know. I don't know all the intricacies of horse racing. I know there's some other owners that have some
You
fame.
just like dressing up for Derby Day.
I love. Well, I know I don't really try. I like shopping for clothes for every day. I don't actually like wearing them. I like the thought of me wearing some dead
Yeah,
guy's old
sounds
suit.
like a part. It sounds like a New Year's Eve party at your house.
Yeah, so
Hey,
I'm
let's
just
let's
not
have
big
let's
on
have a
dressing
theme.
up.
Let's have a theme New Year's party where we all dress up, and as soon as everybody gets there, I'm going to change out of my costume.
Yes, exactly. Let's get the pictures done. We did the same thing for Halloween. We dressed up as each other, and as soon as the pictures were done, we're out of them. Nobody likes dressing up. I mean, there are people that do, but listen, I've never bought another man's jersey until the GOAT video.
The goat.
That the number 12 jersey you see wearing in the GOAT video is the only time I've ever worn a jersey that didn't have my name on it.
All right.
Ever.
So here's my thing about this whole mess is I think where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah.
And obviously they're going to do a necropsy on the horse, and they took some blood samples and urine samples, immediately after the animal passed. I can't wait to see what the results of those are, because I have to believe there was some sort of narcotic in this horse that could have caused the cardiac arrest.
Like they were trying to soup this thing up for the next race.
Yep. And they went too far or whatever. Or
Yeah.
there's probably known side effects of all of these things, which is why they're banned substances. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah, it'd definitely be interesting if it's a third party. Now, if it's the Baffert stables that are doing all this with their doctors, we're never going to know.
Well, I mean, all the blood work and everything should tell us something.
Yeah, but is it going to be made public, or is it even going to be clean samples? Man. So listen, like if your dog dies at your house, I mean, yeah, a vet might do something, but nobody's going to publicize that.
Oh man, I don't know. I'm thinking to myself, this is the defending Kentucky Derby winner. People are going to want to know.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know who. I don't know why they would publicize it. I guess
because of that. All right, let's end the show on this. The college football playoff teams were announced yesterday.
We've got it. All 4 teams.
Any surprises to you?
Not really. I mean, we knew somebody was going to have to lose out of Alabama and Georgia, right? So I guess I think if Alabama had lost, they probably would have been out of the top 4. You might have seen Notre Dame or
Oklahoma
State slide in there. But yeah, so not really, not the way things shook out.
So Alabama gets the number 1 seed, and they're going to be going up against the 4 seed Cincinnati.
The Bearcats.
Dude, Cincinnati doesn't have a chance.
You say no, huh? They haven't lost a game all season. Let's see.
Well,
Alabama has not played very well. Alabama has not played well at all. So I think will be the main factor in all this. So we have about a month before these games take place, right?
Yep.
The biggest factor in these is going to be coaching changes.
Yes.
Right. So there's a lot of coaching positions open.
It's like a carousel right now.
Yes. So there's going to be some OCs and DCs. They're going to have to take jobs because they're available now, and they're not going to be allowed to coach their old team. So I don't think any of the 4 head coaches are going to be leaving, except maybe Cincinnati's. He might go to Notre Dame. That's been a rumor. So you've got all those kinds of ifs, and also a lot of players don't play in these bowl games and championship games because either they're going
not to because they don't want to risk the NFL.
Yeah, they're going either to the transfer portal or they're going to play in the NFL. So they don't. Their agents are advising them not to play. So those are always the little nuanced things that don't come until game week that we know about.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. There could be a lot of changes before it's a month's time. It's a lot.
Yeah. So Alabama, Cincinnati, and Michigan gets the number 2 seed over Georgia. By the way, I didn't catch all of the Alabama Georgia game, but I felt like, first of all, I didn't think it would be a close game. I thought Georgia would handily beat Alabama.
Yeah.
And so for it to be the other way around, I was quite surprised. I mean, you've heard everybody talk about how great Georgia's defense is all season. They did not look great against Alabama.
No, not this time. They did the first time they played.
Now here's the odd thing. So let's say that Alabama beats Cincinnati and Georgia beats Michigan. And now you've got Alabama, Georgia again.
Round 3.
And Georgia wins.
Okay. And Georgia's a champ.
By the way, Alabama and Georgia didn't play this season. They only played in the SEC championship.
I thought they met earlier.
I had 2. I was corrected on that last week.
Okay. So it was only round 2 then.
Yeah. So let's say that they're in the college football final and Georgia wins. They've both beaten each other once in the span of the last 4 weeks. Who's number 1?
Georgia would be, because that's the game. That's the title game. It's you win this game, you have the title, regardless of all the other stuff.
Okay.
That was the reason they made this playoff and this specific game was to eliminate those conversations. Growing up, I was a University of Miami fan, and that was one of the biggest things. They had to split a championship with Washington way back when, because I believe that season they played each other and Washington beat Miami. Miami went on to win the rest of their games, or maybe it was Nebraska. Anyway, but Washington had another loss, but yet they both won. I think Washington won the Rose Bowl, Miami won the Orange Bowl, and it was like the coaches' poll had Miami number 1, AP had USA Today, AP had
I remember
Washington,
that,
and they did a co-national title. And that wasn't the first time. I think Georgia Tech did it at one time, the split national title. Oklahoma, I think, had a split national title. It was to defeat all of that conversation and dual polls. We're going to have one poll. We're going to have one championship game. It matters not what happened before that. It's only what happens in this game. So that's what it's designed to do, and it sounds like we're going to have it. We're going to have a definitive champion.
Yeah, well, I think that'd be pretty cool if it plays out that way.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a very it's been a lackluster season. There hasn't been any dominant team. Normally the best seasons I think we have one really great team in one conference, say like a Clemson in the ACC. You've got another great team in the SEC that's just dominating everyone, like an LSU or an Alabama. And then out west, you have a team like UCLA or Utah or somebody like that that's just dominating. And you're like, all right, let's see who the best is. And we're just not having that this season. We've got a bunch of, almost any of these teams could win against any other team, anytime, any Saturday. It's just not very exciting.
Yeah. Well, bowl season is among us. You're about to see some really ridiculous bowl games.
Oh my gosh.
They start here in a week or so, I believe, some of these games.
Yeah. What was that ridiculous one you had for us with the Florida and USF?
Yeah, Florida and UCF.
UCF
are playing in a December bowl game here in Tampa. So University of Central Florida versus University of Florida.
Bleh.
Yeah.
Both. I don't want to see either.
But you know what? That game will be a sellout.
Of course it will. There's a lot of Florida fans that love to go see their Gators play.
A lot of UCF fans living here in Tampa.
Yeah, that's true. And nothing wrong with that. I mean, your team can't be awesome every year. So go out and support your team. Nothing wrong with that. It's
actually a great bowl matchup for whatever that bowl is called. I think it was some mortgage company.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just gotten out of hand. There's way too many bowls. Stick with the traditional ones as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Yeah, last year we had down in Southeast Florida the getafreeroof.com bowl.
Oh my gosh. Get a free roof. Pathetic.
My roof wasn't free. I paid for it today. I'm walking a little lighter. All right, Pooh Bear, that does it.
Are we done? This is it?
We're done.
Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. All right, we're done, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back again next Sunday live. Hopefully all four of us will be back. Not sure. I can't keep up with the one guy's schedule. I'm sure Chief will be available.
Well, we're Monday night next week because we have a 4
o'clock game. We got another late. Oh, my gosh. These late games are killing me. All right, so Monday night next week, live, 7 o'clock. Yeah, it probably won't be the four of us then. Who knows? If you do like this channel, go ahead and subscribe to it so you can get in touch with all the fun things we do. We've got a vlog coming up from our recent trip to Atlanta. We've all compiled video for that. I'll start putting that together as soon as TSG gets me his. And you got to send yours over too.
I got to send you mine. I'll do it right now.
You got to do that too. Anyway, that's it for us. We'll be back next Monday at 7 o'clock. Until then, say goodnight, Chief.